Erin Moriarty as an actress has undergone a lot of changes. Acting is the art of change. It's taking someone like Robin Williams and have him go from Popeye to Mrs. Doubtfire to Good Will Hunting, and with a few makeup and costume changes, he can actually change his personality entirely. And after that, we have people like Christian Bale, who transform their bodies, losing 70 pounds in a period of 6 months, eating a can of tuna a day for The Machinist, only to right after that in a period of 6 months gain 80 pounds to be Batman. And a decade later, he'd gain nearly 100 pounds to play Dick Cheney of all people. That's nothing new to Hollywood, where people do everything from makeup to intense workout routines to change themselves, but the real debate becomes when they're trying to change themselves permanently, doing these surgeries where they're tucking things, cutting things, or enhancing things to try and make themselves look better to get more work. And normally this is something that actors and models do that people just don't talk about, but now there's one story that's blowing it all up, where Erin Moriarty, who's known for the series The Boys, just shocked the internet after she was called out by Megyn Kelly.
But she's decided to completely change her face.
And with Megyn Kelly going on one roast of insults, she opened up a Pandora's box in Hollywood. And it's really asking the question, is this cyberbullying or is this a warning? I'm Charles Perallo, and today we're looking at Erin Moriarty's plastic surgery or lack of plastic surgery and where this all started. And hey guys, I just want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Raycon. Making videos is expensive, but what aren't expensive are Raycon headphones, where they deliver the exact same quality as other brands at half the price. And I actually use them every day doing things like biking, working out, or hearing myself talk in videos. And unlike a lot of other brands, they come in black like the t-shirt I wear in every single video. And the reason I do like them is because when I am working out, I do sweat quite a bit and they are water resistant. And at the same time, they're pretty damn comfortable, meaning that I can work out and do things like bench pressing and not feel like an idiot. And they also have noise cancellation, so I'm not bothered by the guy next to me who's panting like crazy when I'm working out. Thank you, Raycon, and for a 15% discount, use the link in the description. The birth of plastic surgery goes back to ancient Egypt, because during mummification, Egyptians began correcting people's faces to try and make them look better, thinking it would help in the afterlife. But eventually the Egyptians realized people didn't have to be dead for them to do it, and they can actually do surgeries to correct people's nose or even ripped off ears. And this continued for thousands of years in India, the Roman Empire, and many other places where they all had some form of plastic surgery in their history. But there was one big problem, and that was that it hurt like hell, where people couldn't actually get these surgeries even though they knew how to do them, because they would have to have their nose cut open and broken while being awake. But things started to change in 1846 when a dentist named William Morton became the first person to use anesthesia to perform surgery. And then 79 years later, in 1917, there was a doctor named Harold Gillies who felt bad about the number of World War I veterans who had deformed faces. And that was the use for plastic surgery for decades, where the goal was to help people who had birth defects or severe injuries just look normal. But then people realized it could be used for something very different: becoming hotter. And the first public example of this was an actress named Gloria Swanson, who was a theater actress in the early 20th century who wanted to get into movie acting but realized the camera wasn't so kind, which was a problem many actors and actresses had in the early 20th century who tried to move from theater to movies, where people had to see their faces up close instead of 50 feet away. And Gloria Swanson, who did have a larger nose that couldn't be noticed in theater, did have it so it was noticed on film, so she became the first actress ever to get a nose job. And this was actually really common for a lot of actresses and even some actors in the first half of the 20th century. And it became common in the 1940s after it was revealed Marilyn Monroe had both her nose and chin done to look better. When that was officially confirmed in the 50s, it became just as controversial as Erin Moriarty's surgery today. And when it came to the rise of plastic surgery in Hollywood, there really were two crowds. The first one was pride in plastic, where someone like Holly Madison comes out mentioning all the work she's had done and even brags her boobs were insured for $1 million. And Pamela Anderson had a full C cup, but she said going to Double D was ultimately what made her famous. And those are the people who are more open about the work they've had done, and it's more visible. But then there's people who try to keep it quiet. There are people like Taylor Swift that have never come out confirming or denying they've had plastic surgery, and many plastic surgeons debate if they've had things such as nose or eye work done. And it was very clear that Erin Moriarty was trying to be in the quiet plastic crowd, but after Megyn Kelly's comments, that hope is sadly over. And starting this off, Megyn Kelly was undeniably really harsh to Erin Moriarty, where she wasn't just accusing her of plastic surgery, but was accusing her of having an addiction and mental illness that was making her get all that work done, saying she had her nose grinded to the point it looks like a pencil, and she had other things done to her like cheek implants that was trying to make her lips look like Kim Kardashian. And Erin Moriarty tried to respond to all this, saying Megyn Kelly was lying, she's never had any plastic surgery done, and she only looked different because of makeup. And before doing this video, I did email 3 plastic surgeons showing the before and after photos as well as clips of Erin Moriarty from older work she had as well as current work and current interviews. And those plastic surgeons looked carefully, did their due diligence, did their research, and it took them all of 5 seconds to come back and say she's had a lot of work done. Where all the plastic surgeons, despite not even knowing each other, came back saying almost the exact same things, pointing out how she's had about a 30% increase to her upper lip using fillers in the last year. And the next part was they looked at her nose, pointing out on the right and left sides of her nose it wasn't perfectly symmetrical before but now is. And also there was a bump on the nose before that's now completely gone. And maybe her nose doesn't look like a pencil like what Megyn Kelly said, but it's undeniably much more narrow. And regarding the cheeks, no doctor I showed this to thought she had cheek implants like what Megyn Kelly said, but all of them felt she was likely using buccal fat removal, which means she was removing the fat pads from her cheeks, which made her look like that. And then there was also a lot of stuff that Megyn Kelly didn't even bring up, where every doctor felt she had some form of eyelid surgery done, where every doctor felt she had some excess skin removed from her upper and lower eyelids. And it's also extremely likely she had something called V-line surgery, which is a surgery where they shave off part of the jaw to try and make the face look more pointed versus square. And then finally was the hardest part to tell, but I wanted doctors to take a look at, and that was the idea if she's had breast implants or not. We're looking at before and after photos. It was kind of hard to tell, but all 3 doctors said they would give over a 50% chance of a yes. So racking it up, the estimated price tag on doing all of this is a minimum of about $250,000. So she 100% has had some work done, and she did lie about it on Instagram, but was what Megyn Kelly did okay? The most important thing discussing plastic surgery is safety. And in the United States, plastic surgery is very safe, where only 3 people die for every 100,000 to get it. And those deaths don't relate to the surgeries themselves, but relate to medications that are given afterwards that cause death due to something like a heart attack or some other problem being triggered. So to put it bluntly, it's safer to get breast implants than it is to go drive for milk at 2 p.m. in your own neighborhood. And then there's also the part where Megyn Kelly is accusing Erin Moriarty of having this addiction or mental illness, but she's not bringing up the point that this is kind of her career.
Please don't do this.
Or for one example, let's take former Playboy model Kennedy Summers, who did an interview talking about her modeling career and also plastic surgery, where she said when she was entering her mid-20s, she was told that she wasn't going to have any work as a model after the age of 25 unless she got breast implants so she can become a bikini model and then get more work afterwards. And it's not something a model like Kennedy or other models are addicted to, it's just something to try and boost their career. And it's likely why Erin Moriarty did get this plastic surgery, because she is doing a show like The Boys, which does cater to a largely male audience. And there is this truth that Moriarty pre-plastic surgery was definitely not a household name as an actress. Where pre-plastic surgery, she was having success doing smaller roles in shows such as Jessica Jones, but post-plastic surgery, she's making $500,000 an episode on The Boys. But if there are no health risks to it, and it is clearly helping people like Erin Moriarty out, does Megyn Kelly have the right to call out people for something that tens of millions of women and some men do every single day? And guys, this part of the video I'm gonna get a little bit more personal on, where right now I've been doing longer form content like this, which does have better camera work, and to be completely honest with you, the first time that I actually watched myself do a video like this, I actually started Googling plastic surgeons, where the entire time, like instead of actually looking at views, analytics, or anything, I was looking at myself saying my eyes seem tired, my chin's not good enough, my cheekbones suck, and I just hated the way I looked. And that also goes for the short form content as well that I've been doing for a few years and have almost 2 billion views on, and there I think I look like a total train wreck. And I'm a dude who's read literal thousands of comments saying I look like the uncle from Full House and still don't like the way I look. So concluding this video, I think that people need to look at people such as Erin Moriarty and realize it's not fair to judge anybody, because seeing themselves on camera and realizing there are millions of people watching is a really, really freaky thing. And if Megyn Kelly really wants to judge people on their appearance, saying they should look more natural, I'd love it if she went on TV without makeup and see how she feels. And that's because at the end of the day, be it makeup, going to the gym, or plastic surgery, what someone does to feel more comfortable on camera or just in their everyday life is really their own business. So that was a deep dive on plastic surgery in Hollywood and the Erin Moriarty case, but with that, I'm Charles Perallo. Subscribe if you learned something.